you were saying like, oh, do you know that so and so threw up in the middle of her presentation today? Or do you know that the boss really made this cutting remark when she was presenting today and it was so embarrassing for us? Or do you know that so and so has broken up? So and so has been dumped because blah blah blah. Do you know that so and so is not getting along with her mother-in-law? Do you know that so and so hasn't had a job for this long? Do you know that so and so's husband treats her this way? And you get the drift. So the person you are talking to is neither a part of the problem nor a part of the solution. It's not like she can help their marriage improve. It's not like the person you're talking to can go and tell the person how to present better next time, or can go and tell the job to give his feedback or her feedback in a more constructive way next time. All you're doing is really sharing information about with this other person that possibly, if the third person was present, would not want to be shared, right? So this is what gossiping is. And what is important to understand about gossiping, if you really want to overcome it, is that it is so widespread because it feels good. It feels good. Scientists have found that when people gossip with someone about someone else, often they have oxytocin, the bonding hormone, flowing in them. And oxytocin, of course, makes people feel good, makes people feel bonded, close. So one of the reasons we gossip is because it makes us feel close to the person we are gossiping with at the moment, right? So say you have, like, you're a group of four friends, and you, all the four of you are usually together, and today for some reason two of them are not present, and you and one of your other friends are there, right? For the coffee or something, the other two couldn't turn up, and you and the other one, only another person is there. So now what will likely happen is the two of you will start discussing about the things you don't like about the third and fourth person. Yeah, because it will help the two of you feel close to each other. Like, you are sharing something that is now the others are outsider of, so you are a little closer, number one. Number two is gossiping is also, sociologists have found, a way that we check our social norms. We reaffirm our social norms. So, say someone is late, right? And so that's not there. And then you two are now talking about how that person is always late. So that is not only making the two of you feel closer, it is also confirming for you that, oh, being late is a bad thing. So in your community, in your society, this norm about being late is a bad thing. You are strengthening that by pointing that out in the person who is not present. So it's serving that purpose. And then the third person gossiping serves, that we often gossip for, is that it helps us feel good, feel superior at the moment. So if so and so is always late, or if so and so cannot present well, or if so and so doesn't have a good relationship with her husband or her mother-in-law, then their weakness makes us feel stronger. Their inferiority, by making them, presenting them in an inferior way, we can feel relative superiority. Like, oh, like so and so's marriage is so bad, so and so is so bad at this. At least, I, the implied thing is that, oh, at least we are better, our situation is better. And that makes us feel superior at that moment. So it is because of these reasons that we feel this urge to gossip. But if it really was a good thing, then all the religious and spiritual traditions would not have warned us against it. So when you were feeling close to this friend that you're gossiping with, you two are feeling close at the you two are strengthening your cohesion at the expense of making somebody else the outsider, right? Like you are, oh, we're so close. You and I shared that thing about that person. We both observed that the third person who we say is close to you, us, actually does this or has this quality, and we in sort of in relative secrecy discuss this. Now we are so close, but we're doing that at the expense of outcasting, making the third person the outsider. And because of that, it's a good feeling that's built on hurting somebody else. Secondly, even though the two of you who are gossiping together may feel close at the moment, what it will do is, in the long run, erode your trust in each other, right? In the long run, it will erode your trust in each other, because everybody understands deep down that if someone is gossiping with you, they will also probably gossip about you. If today they're gossiping about person number 3 and 4 because you were there with them, in the next coffee, if you can't make it for some reason, it is very, very likely that they will gossip about you to feel close to them. And people have actually tested that out. Like one person I was listening to, she was saying that this person who gossips a lot, uh, one day one of our closest friends had just left the room, and I actually made a positive comment about their friend who had just left the room. But then they soon took that comment and took it in a negative direction and started gossiping about this person who was supposedly their very close friend. So this woman who is relating this incident was saying that I knew at that moment that if they can gossip about somebody they're that close to with me who is not as close to them, they will certainly start gossiping about me with some other person. So, in the long run, it actually erodes people's trust in you. Secondly, this false sense of superiority, you are feeling, actually, if you're kind of in touch with your conscience, will start feeling yucky very soon, because you will realize that this is why you're indulging in this juicy thing, because it makes you feel good, and then it will come back at you and make you feel worse about yourself, because you probably deep down know that it is not a kind thing to do. and you probably deep down want to be a kind person. So if you're indulging in something that is not consistent with the kind of person you would like to think yourself, kind of person you'd want to be, it will erode your self-esteem. It will make you feel worse about yourself. It will make you feel hollow. Thirdly, it can happen that gossiping will ruin your relationship with the people you're gossiping about. The thing about gossip is everybody's always like, oh, this is just between the two of us. This is just between the two of us. But then that person goes and then tells somebody, can you keep it to yourself? This is just between the two of us. But so and so, so and so, and so and so. So then the third person goes to the fourth person and say, like, can you, this is just between the two of us, okay? This is just between the two of us. But do you know that so and so and so? So it always ends up, I would use the word always, the vast majority of time, it ends up reaching the person who the other people were gossiping about. And depending on what kind of gossip it is, and sometimes it can be something that really affects that person's reputation and can actually result in some practical steps been taken against them. If it's in a job situation, maybe the boss actually turns against them. Maybe they don't get a promotion. If it's in a school situation, maybe the teacher turns against them. Maybe it harms their relationship. Maybe it takes them further away from their spouse or somebody that they were trying to mend a relationship with. So it can, even aside from the hurt or betrayal that they may feel when they hear that you've been talking in this way about them, it can actually harm them in practical ways. And when that happens, that person will very justifiably be very upset with you, and that might ruin your relationship with that person. And then fourthly, gossip is considered something that is very, very harmful in every religion. So it will definitely keep you spiritually stuck. You may be doing a lot of things to progress religiously or spiritually, but if this is something, and this is just so easy to do, and it's so easy to slide into, that it really can sort of enter your life, your activities any moment if you're not very careful about it. So this is something, if this is a habit that you still haven't been able to shake off, it will keep you stuck somewhere. Every religion, as I said, have talked, have warned us against gossip. Let me read a little bit. So this is from the book of Proverbs in the Bible. It said, the north wind brings forth rain, and a backbiting tongue angry looks. So if you, just like the north wind brings rain, if you have a backbiting tongue, you will get angry looks. It also says, whoever secretly slanders his neighbor, him I will destroy. No one who has a haughty look or an arrogant heart will I endure. So if you're secretly slandering your neighbor, or this neighbor could be your actual physical neighbor, it could be your neighbor in your office, in your school, God is actually promising to destroy. And the book of Proverbs also says, where there is no wood, the fire goes out. Where there is no gossip, quarreling ceases. So this brings us back to what we were saying, that when you gossip about somebody, you often make their relationship with somebody worse. But if you can, as the various religious and spiritual traditions tell us, if you can keep people's mistakes covered veil. That's the word in Islam that is used in Islam, to an extent that that is actually that will actually bring in the long run more cohesion in society. Going back to the Bible, it says, it tells the believers, like, let no corrupting talk come out of their mouths, but only such as is good for building up, as fits the occasion, that it may impart grace to those who hear. So, all of us, we think of doing great things. We want to change the world. A lot of us harbor this desire. We want to change the world, and when we think of changing the world, we always think of this big dramatic changes, and not these little things that most of us are participating in, which, if we change, would in effect change the world. And this, using our tongue, using our words to build people up, to bring forward, to inspire people to in a constructive way, is something that can actually change the world if more and more of us are willing to do it in our immediate surroundings. Now let's move to the Quran. The Quran has, like, really has compared gossiping to something very, very dramatic. So this is the Surah Huzrat. Okay, so this is the 12 verse 12 of Surah Huzrat. It says, do not spy or backbite each other. Would one of you like to eat the flesh of his brother when dead? You detest it. So the Quran is comparing gossiping or backbiting to eating the flesh of a dead brother. In Hadith, the Prophet has also compared gossiping to zina or adultery, which is something in Muslim circles, something really, really disliked. Uh, but gossiping has been compared to that, but that is something we are relatively, much more tolerant about and even engage in. The Quran in particular have talked about slandering. And just to make it clear here, gossiping, in order for something to be gossip, it doesn't have to be false. It doesn't have to be something made up. Even if it's something true, but if it's kind of negative, something that the third person wouldn't want you to talk about, probably, if it's and it's not relevant to the person you're speaking to in any way, if you're not warning them or trying to keep them safe by sharing that information with them, it is still gossip, even if it's true. And then if we're spreading untrue things, that's even worse. That's slander. And in Surah An-Nur in the Quran, there is actually quite a series of verses about an incident that happened during the Prophet's time. Some of you may know about this. So Hazrat Aisha radiallahu anhu, the Prophet's wife, one day when they're coming back on a caravan in a kafela, she kind of fell behind, so that there's a procession of camels, and she fell behind. Her camel fell behind. So then another disciple, a Sahabi of the Prophet, found her and brought her back. And this initiated sort of gossip being started about them, that they engaged in something when they were together, and she's indulging in adultery, she is being unfaithful to the Prophet, and so on and so forth. And it went on for a few days, and after that came this series of verses. These series of verses in the Quran were revealed that say, why did people indulge in them? Why did people talk so badly about this innocent person, why couldn't they say like this is false and just walk away? And then the Quran actually gave this very harsh punishment of 80 sort of whiplashes or something similar for anyone who spreads slander in this way. And if this is something that is from a long time ago, but you will see that even today, in today's world, this kind of slander, especially slandering women, happens all the time. It takes different forms in different societies, but it actually, in its core, it's the same thing. And other various religious and spiritual traditions have actually warned us not to do this, and it's actually considered a big sin with explicit punishment talked about in the Quran. So so if you want to progress spiritually, and very important is that I we in the spiritual lessons I have learned that many times the reason our prayers are not being heard are because we are gossipers, you know, because we try to keep ourselves pure in many ways, but this is something that where we get stuck, and because it is violating somebody else's right. The if you want to progress spiritually, you want to protect people and their reputation and their dignity as much as possible, unless you have to warn somebody against some harm, or you are directly talking about solving a problem to somebody who can actually solve the problem. These are the only times, these are the only exceptions to gossiping, and everything else, including talking about celebrities, people you don't know, there, and also including pretending that you are just so concerned about them. Like what we do to make ourselves feel better is like, do you know so and so has happened? Oh wow, like, oh yeah, that's so bad, blah blah. We pretend to ourselves that we're doing it out of concern. No, no, it's still gossip. And no, we're actually may not be as concerned as we would like, as we would like to pretend to ourselves. And even if we are concerned, we're not really helping the person we're concerned about by discussing this with somebody who is not related in any way to the person we're trying to help, or to this incident that we're talking about, right? So even if we're doing that, even if we're just, like, uh, just participating, just absorbing juicy gossip about celebrities, right? Maybe we're not saying it, but we're just like, we're a consumer for it. Even then, we are spreading this gossip culture, right? So all of this will makes us not protectors of other people's dignity, and participants in a very toxic gossip culture. And if we can withdraw ourselves from this, we will see that our lives will start changing, and you will probably start noticing that, oh, more of your prayers are being heard now, because you have been able to purify yourself, basically. So, um, um, and you will see that you feel much better about yourself, and have more esteem for yourself. So, what do we do? How do we change? So, first of all, is like, be clear about what gossip is, and that's what we try to do in today's talk. That unless you are warning somebody, so someone so and so is thinking of getting married to someone, or getting into a serious relationship with someone, and you know something really bad about this person, you can go and warn that person or you know that somebody is a fraud, somebody is a swindler, and you think that they're trying to swindle someone, go and tell that person, like, listen, you're thinking of investing in this, but I happen to know that this person, this company, they're not, they swindle people, they're frauds. You can do that. But other than that, discussing anything that might be considered negative with people who are not related to the problem in any way is gossip. So it doesn't matter whether it's true or not. Even if it's true, it's still gossip. So when you're clear about that, then you can just tell whenever you are in a situation with gossip. So now, if you are somebody who is trying to give up gossip, and you will start feeling more peaceful within, you will what the challenge you'll encounter is that you may not want to do it, but you will see that you're often in situations where in social occasions, you're in a dinner somewhere where people start to gossip, right? So the long-term solution to this is to change your social circles as much as possible. If you are in a circle where the kind of when people are having a conversation, it is mostly that gossip, like it's the most of the conversation is taken up by gossiping about someone or other, then those people, that circle will not be very good for you anyway, not just because they're gossipers, but people who just gossip usually tend to be people who may not have any kind of a noble purpose in their lives. I mean, there might be exceptions, but typically they might be people who are not very constructive, not very productive, not very inspired to do something noble with their lives. So if you're kind of surrounded by people like that, then you know what they say, like you're the average of the five people you spend most of your time with. So that will pull you down. So try to create circles where people are inspired, people are active, people are positive, proactive, constructive, people who are trying to do something meaningful with their lives. That will help you in not just in staying away from gossip, but in other ways too. Now, in the short run, sometimes you may need to be in those situations, and you can always just leave. You can always just, when the conversation is going in a certain direction, you can always just go off for a little bit and go and play with the children or have a cup of tea and come back. Something that you can do is change the subject. You can and also, and something that when I first became very serious about, like, okay, I'm thinking like, no, I'm not going to gossip, because if other people gossip about me, it hurts me. So then it must hurt other people when if I gossip about them. So let's just stop this thing. So when that happened, and when I was still single, and I still had to sort of talk to lots of different kinds of people. Now my husband knows that we're trying to be a no gossip family. Even if he starts, like if I tell him like, look, that's gossip, he will just stop. So I have more of a straightforward relationship with him. But but at that time, I was like, maybe a lot of my friends and stuff, it was not so easy to say. What I would try to do is just say, if they started saying something negative about somebody, I would just start pointing out the positive things about the third person, so, and that's also fun. Everybody has something positive. Everybody has something that you can learn from. So if you make a habit of in your thoughts of like directing your mind to the positive qualities of people, it's very, very interesting. And it will also, like, you can also then point that out. It will make your friends upset. Some of my friends say, what if I don't want to? Some of my friends still tease me, like, what if I don't want to see it from the angle you're seeing it? Because I would often say, like, oh, but if we see it from this angle, But you know what? My friends who are my real friends, they stayed with me. They understand that that's something that I don't want to do, and I have my own reasons for not being a part of that. And they also sometimes will think that you were just stupid because you don't notice the faults that they're talking about. You just don't see. So it will, but the ones who know you will know that no, you do see things. It's just your choice. You've made a choice to focus on certain things and discussing certain things and not discussing other things. But in the long run, you will see that people will respect you. Um, and you will see that for the most part, you are also being kind of left alone, because everybody has different tendencies in them. We all have positive and not so positive tendencies with us, and if people see that this person is really trying sincerely, not to show off, not to feel good about others, but sincerely trying to develop these positive qualities, people do notice, and people do leave people alone, and people, you will see, like, you'll be surprised, people will probably start, like, maybe following your example, or praising you, or complimenting you, because even we can't be a certain way, we usually see, we notice it, the good in others, if somebody else can be that way. But again, we just think, oh, we are just normal people and it's just for special people to be that way. No, we all have tendencies, and if we pursue the positive tendencies in others, all of us, of course, there will be challenges, and challenges from within us, not just from outside, but all of us can progress towards being a better and better and better human being, somebody who is more aligned with our values, which in turn will make us a more confident person and also a more loved person. So I hope that you give it a try. You think about whether you indulge in gossip or not, or in what ways you become part of the gossiping culture, and how you can sort of step back from it, because it really is not doing anyone any good in the long run. Okay, so that was our talk for today. Uh, let's go to our meditation. Uh, Today we will do, let's do the overcoming negativity, okay? And then in this meditation, during this meditation, let's just think of uh, in what ways we get drawn to gossiping and negativity. And then if we have, and let's write down any negative, if we identify as a gossiper, or or if we believe that, oh, this is something that's something I just can't change, or if we believe that, oh, this is just normal, let's write those down, and then cross it out like we do in this meditation, so that you feel more empowered. You feel like, oh, this is something you really can change, and it will give you that power of belief to evolve in this particular way. Okay, as always, let me know in the chat if you have any problem listening to the meditation, hearing the meditation.